This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I got it, Mr. D.
Yes.
We're about to begin our commission meeting this morning. Mr. Burke, why don't you lead us in prayer this morning?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to wake up, see another beautiful day that you've given us. Thank you for our friends and neighbors who are here to do the business of the county. Pray that you would lead, guide, and direct us. Help us focus on what is best for those who are here. Pray a special blessing on on our former mayor, who's not doing so well right now, Bobby Strickland. Pray that you'll be with him and his 90+ years of age. Be with his family. Pray for all the sick and suffering in our community. We've had a lot of loss, and we pray that you be and comfort those families. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. See, I had to give Mr. Burke the opportunity to hear right there by the podium. It's outstanding. And join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Okay, we have before you a proposed agenda. What's the pleasure of the board? Dave, you got anything?
No, sir.
Tim?
No, sir.
You good?
I'm good.
Tony?
No, sir.
I do have, Mr. Chairman, I would like to add, there should be an addendum attached to it, number 18. I got something for the family regarding the Family Connection Program. Number 19, something regarding the Public Defender's Office, and then discussion about some surplus property we have, and hopefully a brief executive session for personnel matter.
Okay. I want to also add campground too. Yeah. All right.
I so move that we approve the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
We have the motion in second. All in favor, by the show of hand, that is unanimous. The old minutes were email and mail, which I can get. I got my phone fixed, so I got the email too.
Okay.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion we adopt as recorded.
Yes, sir.
There's been motion in second. Are there any other discussion on the old minute before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands, and that is unanimous. Mr. Steve is on you now.
Okay. All right, I believe Joseph's waiting on maybe one or two more for his group, so we'll skip over him just a second. Is Miss Loretta Walters here? All right.
Good morning.
A few minutes earlier, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, come on up and have a seat or stand at the podium, whichever one you're more comfortable doing.
Well, if it's okay, I'd like to put a display there so you all can see.
Okay.
Everything.
Yes, ma'am.
It's only two of what the projects that I have, but I do have a car full of them to go out today. And they all are different. All of them, no two are just alike. So, my name is Loretta Clark Walters. For the ones that don't know me, I have this project called Give with Grace. And what it is that I fix these type baskets to be handed out this way to seniors and disabled people in the community. In those baskets consist of cleaning supplies, personal hygiene, everything that you need yourself at home. But I do it for the senior and disabled people because, first of all, most of them are old, on a fixed income, low income, and are unable to get out and get this stuff themselves. So I started doing this in 2017. So now I'm just putting this project out to let the community know that I serve Dooley County. That includes Byronville, Unionville, Pinehurst, Lilly, Vanna. I go all over the county this person this type product. And I give it to them because it's been on me, and I know how they feel because I myself too was at the point where I had to have somebody to help me because I couldn't do anything. I was in surgery for 16 hours. And when I came out of surgery, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't walk. I couldn't open my mouth. So with me going through what I went through and see how good God has been to me, I decided to bless other people. Because you don't have to be old to be disabled. We got a lot of young people that are disabled too. So the thing is, so I decided to let the community know what I do, because if y'all decide or anyone decide to give me any help or help me continue my project, I do have some flyers here saying Give with Grace, and it has my name. And a lot of people ask for Cash App or something. So it also has my Cash App number on here. And two, also, I don't know everybody that might be in desperate need, but you might know somebody that I don't know. So you can call me and tell me. I've had that happen. People call me and let me know. Because if I don't know, then I can't go to you. But I just want the people to know, and people that want to, willing to give me a donation. You don't have to give me money. You go out and buy some of this stuff and give it to me. I have no problem, because whatever you give me, I'm gonna use it. I'm definitely gonna use it. I don't turn down nothing. So like I said, I have this flyer, and I will be passing it out.
You know, you better get one. Give me one. That's
I'll get you one.
my mile and 2 mile.
But I will like I said, I've been doing it for a while. And y'all wouldn't believe the smile that this basket put on people's face.
Ms. Loretta, how do you get your mail? How do you get your mail if somebody wants to mail you a check?
65. My mailing address is 65 North 40 Drive, Vienna, Georgia. 31092. 40 FORTY.
All spelled out. Vienna.
But like I said, I not only do this, but I do go to the nursing home. I go to people's in the community. Y'all, there's a lot of people that need stuff. So and that's why I came up with the name Give with Grace. If you're gonna give it to me and talk about it, keep it. Because we don't want it. Give it from your heart. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. We ain't trying to impress nobody. And when I give these, like, I don't have no name on them. I keep up with the name before I give them to them. And I just put a little stick on there saying, Give with Grace, and I give it to them. I'll be on there as a sticker. And it might be a little number at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many I give out. Because beside that number in my book is a name. I don't share that name with nobody because that ain't everybody's business. I mean, personal income, some people don't want you to know that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to put it out there like I did this, I did that. I don't do that. I just fix it and I give it. And I'm done with it. Any questions? Anybody want to ask me?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We have a lot of community service that's ordered by the probate court, and the judge can't direct one charity or another, but the probation office is often looking for opportunities for people to give either canned goods, food bank, dog food for the shelter, And this sounds like something to be just as worthy. And sometimes at Christmas time, they're giving gifts for the defects and all that. Jamie Davis is in charge of that office, and I will, let me give you my office number,
Yes, please.
268-4915. If it's okay,
4915.
4915. If you'll call me, I'll put you in touch with Ms. Davis. I think they have some requirements of 501c3 and all that, but there's a way we could get around that with the food bank of the Methodist Church. If you get in touch with those people, or it goes through them to you to get to these people, there's a way to get around it.
Okay.
And that would be stuff that's people who violated the law in this county that are paying community services county could be giving something that would be, because you're hitting a need that.
And I go out, my goal, and so far I have been doing it, going out monthly.
Mhm.
I go out every month, at least once a month, at least.
I had a lady that was a client of mine years ago in Dougherty County, and she had worked all her life, 40 years, as a cook in Montgomery, Alabama, and retired there. And she got food stamps. She had Social Security and food stamps. She lived in a four-room block house in South Albany that had flooded. And we helped her get her house back from a relative and all this other good stuff. But when it came down to it, her living, she had $13 in food stamps. 13. It doesn't cover any of that. Now, that's somebody who is the working poor, who did everything right all their life. And that's who I see you're touching.
They be so thankful.
Mm-hmm.
When I said be really grateful,
Because food stamps won't buy any of that.
won't buy none of it. I had one lady that I went to, and I don't call names, but she was so grateful. She said, if you stay here a little longer, I'm gonna cry. She said, because I really do appreciate what you did for me. And everything was in that basket. She said, I need it all.
All right. Do we have any
No
other?
question?
Yeah, we have, Dave? 10? You
I
good?
think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
You know I appreciate you. That's why I pick you up all the time, the early morning track meets and everything. And everybody that I coached didn't turn out bad. Some of them turned out good. But we appreciate that, Mr. Loretta. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank y'all for allowing me this chance to share with you all what I've been doing. I want to let people know, because to keep the project going, I need some help.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, it does.
That's right. You part of that village.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. You ready?
Come on, big boys, have a seat.
That's Speed Man right there.
I want to introduce you. This is Caleb Madison. This is Terrence Neal. These are our two state champions in track this year. Caleb won in the shot put in the 12 and under age group. And TJ here, he won in the...
Can we stop right there?
Sure.
You said 12 and under.
12 and under.
Okay, you can
Just
continue.
12 too. He's in April. So, and then TJ here, he won it in the 200, the 400, and the long jump.
Wow.
Setting a state record in the 200 and the 400.
Wow.
He actually had set it the night before, and it was a prelim race, and they were acting kind of funny about the state record, so he went back and broke the record again. So, but they did a fantastic job. They really helped us to grow the program by winning these state championships. They get a lot of recognition for this. This was something that was really a spectacular achievement for both of them. Really are proud of them. I just want to bring them here today, just introduce them to y'all. These guys are here thinking about coming out of retirement, but running the way y'all are. They go.
Yeah, okay, that's all thinking about it.
But yeah, we really are just proud to have them be part of our program, and TJ's mom and dad were a big part of helping us with the track program, and they really helped us get off the ground. And we really think in the next year, 2 years, that we can see those numbers double. I really think that our participation numbers are just going to go through the roof in track. To me, it's already my favorite sport in rec, even over baseball, football, and basketball. I really enjoy track. Just the crowd is so nice, and people are just really supportive. When they see something that's spectacular, they cheer for it. I mean, it's different than a kid scoring a bunch of touchdowns on you or scoring a bunch of points in basketball. You're not cheering for that kid, but you see something spectacular, on the track field, you really, it's hard not to cheer for it and appreciate it. So, but yeah, I just want to bring them in front of you and just introduce you. And if you have any questions for them, I'm sure they would love to answer.
Yeah, I was gonna ask TJ if he lives, close to the railroad track. Herschel Walker used to race the train when they would come by. You don't have no railroad track close by, do you?
My neighbor.
They know, sir.
You keep working, it'll get faster and faster.
You're right by Smith, big old tower house. Where Smith didn't used to live.
So you can be right down the road from you.
Yeah.
Be closer to the track than you are.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I can talk about track. They can say what they want about all the other sports, and I say this all the time. Track is what put Dula County on the map. You can't, because we weren't going nowhere. And Coach Ward was real instrumental in that. And it's just been passed down because the mom and dad both ran track. I know for the dad to be as sort of big side guy, he could tote his own out there on the football. I mean, on the track field. Now I said, Lord, have mercy, man. But now when you turn him loose, he wasn't no joke. But and it just passed down to him, and I can't. Oh, Miss Madison, it's just. Oh, gone, boy! I just yeah. Then the first thing they're gonna say, y'all cheating. You got an 18-year-old out there.
You got to keep it on them all the time.
Yeah.
Have to show it.
I know it. 'Cause I've been there and done that. So you can't. But we always would cheat. So but it's just natural, and that's something Dula County has natural. That track talent.
Well, nobody can tell you more about the good things you're doing besides your mama. And if you want to tell what Caleb had done with the science,
You want me to stand up?
whatever you.
Well, he also just recently went to the recent district science fair. He competed against 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. He came out with the #1 science fair project for our entire recent district. He's just as good in the classroom, if not better in the classroom than he is in his sports. But he does all sports: baseball, football, track. What am I leaving out there? Somebody's leaving out there. Basketball. He does all.
Awesome.
He's also going to this month represent the state of Georgia in the Future Stars football game. And for 6th grade, he had all honors, top student for math, science, social studies, language arts.
That's all right. Well, he couldn't help but be smart because his mama taught right next door to me in school. To her room right next to mine, and then she was principal and all that kind of stuff. So he didn't have a choice.
I see his college getting paid for.
Yeah.
Did we get a picture with you?
Yeah, that'll be let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. What was Cam at?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
The only 12-year-old I know that comes with his own agent.
Oh, you want to become the agent?
No, his mother's his agent.
Oh yeah. She stand behind him 100%. Yeah. Yeah. We want to take some pictures.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
get
come
picked too, Joe.
Yeah.
Gonna stand?
So let them stand between y'all two. Yeah. Y'all sort of separate a little bit. Yeah. Cause y'all can't hide one of them, but y'all not hiding the other one.
We'll stand.
Yeah, that'll work.
One more.
Gotcha. Hey.
All right. They gonna need all of that, cause they ain't gonna believe 30 years from now, ain't nobody believe they did that.
You go in your room at night, you get ready to go to bed. When you turn the light off, try to get to bed before it gets dark. You get quick that way, won't you, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's awesome. Yes, now, we sure appreciate it. We glad you started the program, that program back up. That was a good thing, cause it's sort of don't die off. I can tell you that. I think we had one kid. I know last year, year before last year, on the track team. One girl. That was ridiculous. And we always used to be a contender in the state track meet every year. You know, everybody was looking for Duplin County, and we sort of. We don't held our own, you know, especially with Roger Kingdom and all them other people that came through. And it's just so many, I can just talk on and on about all the great people that have been through here and the state championships that, you know, that we have won in track. And I can't count the regions. And to look back up there and to see there's only one kid on the track team, you know, that was ridiculous, you know. So I'm just glad you're the foundation for it. And maybe we can get it back to it.
They've done a fantastic job. I mean, the program's really going to grow, and it's going to be a good thing. We're going to put Dillon County back on the map with track.
That's right. Then I want to go to Albany. I don't know where they had a state at now, but you know they get to go on even the region. You know, we want to back. Coach Ward won so many regions. I think I won a little bit more than he did, but I ain't just bragging. But I won 17 straight region championship when I was there. But And that because they had good people that lived in the community, and I knew it was natural talent here, and I wasn't going nowhere because all the talent was here, and I just tapped into it, and I'm glad you are gonna bring this thing back alive.
Well, thank y'all for making it happen. Really, I
Yeah.
mean, we really appreciate it. We had a lot of fun with it. Guys, y'all want to stay for the rest of the meeting, or y'all want to get out of here?
Summertime, they get
Yeah. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate all that.
All right.
Thank you, parents. Yes.
All right, let me get caught up here.
I guarantee that boy had a stripe on his helmet ever since he started. I told you.
Yeah, sure.
Big boy.
That's his dad.
Bulldog.
That's
Bulldog.
That's him right there.
Okay, me and him played football
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
You remember him?
Bulldog. Yeah, he went to college.
Yeah,
We were in Unadilla and Vine, and they'd always holler for his birth certificate.
Yeah, Bulldog. Yeah.
They would. If he broke the line, you
Yeah.
couldn't stop him. They'd go weigh him. They'd take him. His mama would make him take all the way down to nothing. And weigh
Yeah,
him.
that's Bulldog. That was him.
For the little one?
No,
Bulldog.
his dad is
His
sitting in the
dad
car.
right there.
in the back.
Oh, I didn't see him. This podium blocks me, so I don't see.
John Offenberg coached us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, you know, they got that one girl that's setting all kind of records, man. But you know, she in another county now. She run AAU. Well, I don't know if she still go to school, but the talent is here. Yeah, she's tough.
All right, moving along. Kenny, come on up. Kenny's here to talk about item number 15 on the agenda. Let me get caught up here on the screen. The Middle Plant Regional E911 Authority has submitted their funding request for FY 23-24. And Mr. Calhoun is our representative on the 911 Authority. And do you still serve as chairman of the authority?
I do.
Okay. So I'll let you take it from there, Kenny.
Okay, well, it's budget time again for us, and the majority of the counties involved in our regional 911, they're on a little bit different budget schedule than we are. So we prepared this budget in May because a lot of them have budgets that they're trying to get ready to have in place by end of June. Anyways, the long and the short of it is we've got two revenue streams. One is the surcharges that are attached to phone service. That is collected by the state. We figure out what it's going to take to operate the center. Those revenues are sent to us by the state that they collect on our behalf. And the difference in the operating cost and what is collected is what we call gap funding. And that is what each county that is a member of the authority participates in. Dooley County's percentage, prorated percentage, is about 11.5%. Sometimes it fluctuates because we look at several factors each year and make adjustments. But the long and the short of it is this year there is what I think is a substantial increase. Last year, the annual payments for Dooley County was $54,924.48. Under the new budget, that would increase to $71,129.18. That'd be a monthly payment of $59.2743. And then, like in a lot of areas, a lot of this increase is due to inflation and the job market, and that we have to be competitive in order to recruit and retain quality employees. And so that is the increase that's being proposed at this time.
This is for dispatchers and stuff.
Right.
So this is sort of what we did with we had to increase the sheriff's department
Right.
pay. Y'all are just a little behind on that, or y'all done it and we're catching up?
Well, here's the deal. Before COVID hit, we were competitive in pretty much all markets, the dispatch market and the private sector, because of benefit package and what have you. Well, when COVID hit, a lot of people around us lost employees. In order to get those employees, they baited them with increases in salary, which hired away some of our people. And so we just have got to get competitive. There was a call center that opened up in Columbus, and they were taking inexperienced people off the street, putting them to work right day one at $15 an hour. And we had people in the $13 range, and they had been there a year. So we just had to catch up, basically.
All the other counties are paying the same thing?
Pretty much, we did a survey and found out what the other counties around that had dispatchers and similar situations, 911 centers, then that's pretty much what they were paying.
How many, the center serves how many counties?
8.
8 counties.
Is that what I asked?
How is the funding divided up between the 8 counties? Based on?
It's on a pro rata share.
You said ours was about 11.5%.
Dooley County represents about 11.5%. Some years it might be 12%. There's a couple of factors that we look at. That a lot of it is based on phone lines.
We know they had them other. Then once you came in and said some other county was trying to come on board.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that wouldn't reduce the rate?
That never did come to fruition.
No.
Well, we can't run our own center at that amount.
Oh,
so,
no, you can't even come close. Of course, your job now too is trying to retain your people even.
Right.
What's out there.
Right. We've got a good core group of people. We have, since COVID, we have had situations where, because of illness and because of low staffing, that our director has had to pull a regular shift in addition to their other duties. And but it's one of those things where we got to have qualified people sitting in those chairs to answer that call and direct emergency services where they need to go.
Serving 8 counties, how many different agencies do you know?
70, about 77 different agencies. It's not your normal dispatch job, and that's the reason that if somebody comes to us from another dispatch, they have to kind of retrain, even though they've been dispatching for 10, 15 years, if they come to us, they've got to retrain, because those people are sitting there, and not only do they have a telephone to answer, they've got, some of them have 2 radios to listen to. And they got 3 screens, and those screens, one is filled with nothing but icons to click on the correct agency to. One is a mapping screen, and the other is additional information. And it is, I wish, and I invite all of you at any time, I'll take you as a group, as individuals, I wish you could go over there and see it. What they do is really impressive. And I hate to say it, but I couldn't go over and sit in that chair and do what they do.
Well, just envision how many church streets are in 8 counties, in every town in those counties. There's no telling how many church streets are under. You could have a call on, then they got to direct them and get them to the right location.
And we have done some improvements recently in that we've got a better mapping system now. There's just been some things that have kind of come along. We've got a better weather information coming in over there now. So we're always constantly looking for ways to improve and be able to give a better service. And we've got some people, they're not that many, but we've got some people that have been with us since day one, which is, they've got 20 years of service in now. And so I think it's come along really well. And, you know, as far as money saving, the combined effort, there's economy. There's an economy of scale. For one example, to have and this was what it was 20 years ago, to have a standalone 911 center in a county, there has to be a telephone switch, and I'll just leave it at that because it's hard to explain, but there's a telephone switch that 20 years ago cost $250,000. And if each county that's in the 911 center had their standalone, they'd have to buy that. So that would be 8 times $250,000. But that one switch handles everything that we do over there. So that's the economy of scale. So, you know, if that amount of money, that $800 and something thousand, only had to be bought one time.
Well, let me ask you this now, how for response time, like, to get into whatever might be going on, do you have any problem getting the calls back out to the different county from that main location, and trying to get there in the appropriate time to, if a person having a heart attack, y'all ain't sent, you know, I know you're not, but I'm saying, has it improved to the point, you know, and I know you have to come through the sheriff department, right? When all your calls come back, it has to go there and then come back to the.
Well, the way it's working now is that call goes in over there and they dispatch directly. So if it's a call for our ambulance service, they talk directly to our ambulance service. Mm-hmm. With the sheriff's department, sheriff has his own people. So if the call comes in over there for the sheriff's department, it's transferred to the sheriff's department.
That phone call is transferred to the sheriff's department, and then the sheriff's department dispatchers dispatch that.
And you see all this stuff, I think at once before you came in, you said something about landline, that some of the fees or something were coming off the.
Any type of phone service, anything that you can make a 911 call on, whether it's a landline, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a computer, there's a thing called voice over internet, anything that you can make a 911 call on, there is a $1.50 fee attached to that. That is collected by the state, and then it is sent back down to us. The state went into that program several years ago for the purpose of trying to be able to make sure that all the telecommunication companies are remitting like they were supposed to. Before, we didn't have any way to monitor or audit whether everybody that was supposed to be sending us money was sending the money. But now that the state is handling, supposedly they're making sure. And one of the things that they told us to about this was our revenues would increase because better monitoring, and that has been so. But a portion of the problem is we got bit by the census just like you did, because Dooley County's census numbers are so low. The other part of that equation is that people that make up the 8 counties, like Dooley, Macon County, Marion County, they're all small counties. And when this census thing happened, it was the small counties that got hit the hardest.
Kenny, wasn't this regional 911 a model? Wasn't it the first in the state?
It's the largest in land mass. It's the largest this side of the Mississippi.
I knew all that grant money came down based on putting that thing together. I was thinking it was the original model.
The state put forth an effort to try to get 911 established statewide. There was probably a dozen counties out there that didn't have any kind of 911. Part of the tobacco settlement money, the One Georgia money, was made available. And if 2 counties joined, they got like $200,000. And if 3 counties joined, they got like $300,000. But we maximized that because they didn't even have anything for 7 counties. We got every nickel we could possibly get to get that started.
Need a motion to approve that funding. That's the board's choice.
Okay.
Oh, the motion that we provide the increased funding.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, have the motion and second. Do we have any discussion on it? How much is that? Is that a $16,000 increase?
$16,204.70, roughly.
Yeah. All in favor by the show of hands? And that motion carried.
And Steve asked if I was still chairman of the board. Our makeup of the board over there, you might find it a little interesting. We've got 3 county managers, there are 2 sheriffs on the board, and 2 county commissioners and myself. I feel like that, as far as that ranking, I'm probably the low man on the totem pole, but I am the longest serving director. I've been there since day one. And there's been a lot of hard work put into that center, and I think it's paying off.
That's a pretty diverse group, a good diverse group of representatives on the board.
Well, you got the law enforcement element there, and 3 county managers. They are good with budgets and the funding side of it, and it's a pretty good mix. And then there's myself, and then the fire chief of Sumter County. We're out there every day where the rubber meets the road.
It's just a tile. I mean, you saying that, but it's just a tile. It don't make no difference. But, you probably know more about what's going on than that. You just don't have a tile going on. So I wouldn't be worried about no tile.
Well, no, I don't worry about it. I had a lot to learn. This was kind of, I use this a lot, but when we were developing personnel policies, I didn't know a whole lot about that. And of course, we got to the point about nepotism. Somebody had to explain that to me. And so they did. And when they did, I understood it. And, they told me about what the problems that nepotism could cause. And I said, well, we need a good nepotism policy. But I said, we need to remember one thing. We're located in rural Georgia. And the gene pool is way deeper than the labor pool. Because, when you get in these small towns, everybody's kin to somebody.
You right about that?
Yeah. So you kind of have to watch what you say. Or you might be running down one person that might be somebody's uncle, brother, cousin, whatever. But
You can always
generally,
put a caveat in there. This is the policy for nepotism, comma, but it doesn't apply if they don't claim it.
All right, moving right
That's true
along.
too.
It's in,
Thank-
Belleville, right? I wanna go see it one day.
Okay.
Can you set them up for us there?
Sure, we can make that happen. We can make that happen. I'd love for all of you to go, see it and get an idea of what it's about. On the outside, it doesn't look all that impressive, but what they do inside is. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, item number 2, the financial, we hope to have the financial report for the May next meeting. And then that will begin the budget process once we close out the books for May. So
Time for the fun
we
time.
look forward to that fun process. Item number 3, just a reminder, we have a vacancy on the Board of Health. We'll keep that on the agenda. Item number 4, we had a Jalapa Road, remind y'all, that's where we had two lines of 60-inch metal pipe washed out. We have submitted our application to DOT for some supplemental LMIG funding. Our engineer, Lance Woods, with Mulligan Consulting Engineers, recommend that we install a 10-foot by 8-foot concrete box cover at that location to permanently repair it. Estimated cost $530,000.
Well, that just Joker hit me this week with it, and I tell you what you do. You go pay for it. Then. We can get the covers in there and all that kind of stuff, and
So
complain.
that's why we're asking for some money from the state.
If we don't get the money, can we go back with a 260-inch metal pipe?
Yeah.
What's that?
Or some,
That's more manageable,
yes,
a lot more manageable.
yes.
And I get asking, but you don't want to leave the road, because the road's shut down.
Yes.
That's right.
Now, it was, yes. So initially, once we discovered it, like I said, initially, I don't think from the top, the road looked, the pavement was not broken. It was hollow underneath. So what the road department always do, they go and dump two loads of dirt in the pavement on both sides to try to, and put them signs up also. Well, Rodney, in a discussion later, Rodney said, well, I just found out there were folks going around the dirt on one side, still crossing it. I said, well, you go back up there and put enough dirt up there where they can't cross it. Because I didn't want the liability of somebody going over there and that thing falling down. So he went back and, but you would have thought road closed sign, piles of dirt in the road.
But they saw the road was fine.
Well, it looked fine. It looked fine. And on one side, on the upstream side, it might be okay. But I wasn't willing to take that risk, so we just shut the road
Steve, do
down.
you know if that's been submitted?
Yes. Yes, and I have.
And the reason I asked that question is, we got a brand new person for our region.
And I've contacted her.
Brand new people aren't too aggressive.
Well,
And there's a fellow that serves on there though, that had gotten back to me. He said, be glad to try to help Dooley County anytime. Keep him posted. Well, he needs to be posted.
how do we do that without stepping on toes?
I think there's a way.
Okay. All right.
The golf game or the coffee house or the party.
Well, it's got to be outside the boardroom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's the way it
Yeah, I
works.
mean, that's why I'd heard that, but I didn't want to step on no toes. And I've contacted our new DOT board member and
Well, I
she's
tell
aware
you,
of it.
And there's just so much money. But you know how many years we tried to do 215 and 257 out there? He got it done.
Yeah.
And we tried, I know 4 years, working through our guy. But, they just every board, there's lead caps. When you get to the state level, especially if they've been there a while, them old gray beards. And when they talk, people listen, especially a brand new person coming on that board.
But let me ask you, Steve, we got all them pipes up there. We can't, I'm just curious, I'm just thinking out loud. You said it need to be a box cover.
Yes, sir. There's a tremendous amount of watershed that comes through, that potentially comes through there.
Mhm. So, I'm just thinking, maybe we put 3 or 4 of those. That, I mean, even though I know they're round, that was still.
Well, that's something that could be Plan B if we don't get
Yeah,
this.
There's more than one way of skinning a cat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
This would be the first choice.
Uh-huh.
This would be a permanent fix.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway,
got to have that permanent money too. But
Bert, you would find this ironic, and it was hard for me because I was thinking, but when they kept mentioning this guy's name, his name is Rudy Bowen. I said, Rudy Bowen? No, Rudy. His name is Rudy Bowen.
He's the DOT board member for Houston County. All right.
We've had, one time we had Steve Bowen was trooper. Steve Bowen pulled somebody over, and I was going to represent him. And Kevin Bowen was a deputy, and Rooney Bowen was a judge. And the guy's like, they're all related. I said, you're not going to believe this, but they really are not. They didn't believe me. But they're not. They're like distant cousins.
We have that with Peavy's in this county. Peavy's.
Number 5, just a reminder, the next holiday for county employees is Monday, June the 19th for Juneteenth Day. Then the next one will be July the 4th next month. The current special purpose local option sales tax expires December 31st, 2024. The referendum for the next SPLOST is tentatively scheduled for March the 12th of 24. So then county officials are required to meet with municipal officials to discuss potential projects for the new SPLOST at least 69 days before the scheduled election. So we have prepared you a booklet there, and we've sort of tagged it. It's got 3 documents in it. The first document is the intergovernmental agreement from the current SPLOST that the county and the cities negotiated and executed. The next document is the resolution that the county adopted calling for the election for the SPLOST. And then the third and final document is the copy of the latest guide that's prepared by the ACCG for special purpose local option sales tax. And so the first thing we need to do, there's lots of things, a lot of steps we got to go through, but one of the first things I suggest we do is schedule a meeting with all the cities to discuss. Let them know, hey, our current SPLOST is expiring. We want to go after a new one. And see where that leads. Now, in this book, let me see here. Let me get my thoughts together. For the current SPLOST, we negotiated they call it intergovernmental agreement with all the cities to decide how the money gets spent. If to avoid having to do an intergovernmental agreement, you can have, if you have what the state refers to as level 1 projects, and you're going to have, what's a level 1 project? Level 1 projects are capital projects for the use and benefit of the citizens of the entire county that are needed to implement state mandated county responsibilities. Level 1 projects are specifically limited to the following: a courthouse, an administrative building for elected officials or constitutional officers, a county or regional jail, correctional institute, or detention facility, a county health department facility, or a combination of the above. If all your proposed funding for the next SPOS was going to be designated for those type projects, then you ain't got to negotiate with the cities. You can designate all the money for level 1 project. I don't see us designating our next 6 years SPOS for all those projects. So that means that leaves us 2 options. You either negotiate with the cities like we've done in the past, or the money gets divided up strictly on population. And that's it. We've always chosen to do an intergovernmental agreement. So then that brings in, when you start talking with the cities, something that has to be brought up to all counties are eligible to receive SPOS funding. A municipality must be a qualified municipality. And state defines a qualified municipality. To be qualified, they must provide at least 3 of these services. Either they provide the services themselves or provide the services by contract with some other entity. Law in the 3 services is listed: law enforcement, fire protection, road and street maintenance, solid waste management, water supply, wastewater treatment, stormwater collection, electric or gas utility, enforcement of building, housing codes, planning, zoning, recreation facilities, and library services. They say virtually all municipalities should be able to qualify. And just thinking about that, they all provide solid waste management by contract with the county. So they got that. And I think all of them provide water. Don't they? Don't all cities?
Does Doolin?
Doolin has a water system.
They got one. They got
a water system. Marvin's got a water system. Now
they all offer planning and zoning through contract, don't they?
Not all of them. Not with us.
But Doolin would be the only one they do, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's their.
And then the other, everybody else has wastewater.
Fire departments.
So I mean, all the cities should qualify. But anyway, that's something we have to mention at the first meeting. Just put everybody on notice. And then I won't bug y'all with all this information. All right, so 5 years ago when we were planning on our current one, another step you got to do is estimate what your revenue is going to be for a 6-year period. So somehow or another, we chose to start for the first year of the current SPOS, which was 2019. We projected $1,345,000. And then we roughly projected a 3% increase for every year after that. So that's why he wound up with 8 million someone. That's where that figure came from. And then that gave us a figure. Then we had, in the negotiation, the county got 75% of it. The remaining 25% was divided between the cities based on population. So then each city told us how they wanted their money allocated. We didn't have any say, didn't want any say in how the cities developed their projects, and then the county developed our projects. So like Byronville chose equipment purchases and infrastructure projects. Doolin just chose one, water system improvements and renovation, and so on and so forth. And all this information is in your package there. So we got down there, and then, so when the 25% for the cities at that time, based on census population, that's how the cities' percentages broke down. Based on, if it's done based on the 2020 census, these blue figures here would be the new figures for the cities. Some of them would get an increase, some of them would get a decrease.
What did we do with, we just did this sort of, what was the deal we did? We left We left the small ones the same.
The 4 smaller cities got left the same. When we did what was that we just did? Gosh, my mom.
Lost.
The local option sales. We had to negotiate the lost every 10 years. This SPLOST, we've been doing it every 6 years.
But the percentage between the larger ones isn't as bad on the dollar as it is. Like Doolin gets cut, whatever they get gets cut in half. Pinehurst, well, Doolin's the worst one.
Yeah, Doolin's.
Yeah, Doolin.
Does Doolin impose any ad valorem tax on its residents?
I don't think they do nothing like that.
Nor does Lilly,
No,
but the others do.
I don't think Pinehurst does, do they?
Okay.
Property tax?
Pinehurst.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
They won't right now. 20 years.
So anyway, that's something that had to be negotiated also.
You know, and they need to probably be made aware of the ad valorem taxes and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's subject, one of the subjects for discussion when we have our meeting with them.
Right.
Then, just so and then sort of let you know where we at on our actual revenues compared to projections. This doesn't show up real good, but say for 2019, we projected $1,345,000. That broke down, that average, that's $112,000 a month. Actually, we collected $1,224,000, which averaged $103 a month. We didn't meet our projection 2019. 2020, we budgeted $1,385,000. We collected $1,634,000. We exceeded our projection. 21, $1,425,000. We actually collected $1,476,000. We exceeded it again. 22, we projected $1,470,000. We collected $1,630,000. So overall, we are exceeding.
That was the overall projection or the county projection?
That's overall.
That was overall.
That was overall, the total. So we are ahead of schedule as of today, which means who knows what's going to happen in the next 19 months. My crystal ball ain't working, so I can't tell you. So far, overall, we projected a total of $8,700,000. As of the end of May, we've collected $6,635,000, which leaves just a little over $2 million to reach that total projection, which we would need to average $108,000 a month to meet projection.
When we hit it, it cuts off.
No, they changed that. But when we hit it, the excess money first goes to any county debt.
I can ask that same
That's a
question.
good thing.
Yeah. And
If your intergovernmental agreement doesn't specify any different, excess funds go to county debt. We got that, so we're not going.
Yeah, cause we was over.
So, but we need to.
Said that 1 year.
So we need to start thinking about what we want to project for the next 6 years. Because like I said, for 22, we averaged 135,000. But look how the money has come in so far this year. 139, 131. Then it dips down to 103, 149, 126.
Well, the 103 is a reflection of what was collected, I guess, in February, which would be 2 days shortest month.
And, the Department of Revenue gives you no other information for sales tax. They don't share any information about it. You get what you get. So
That's why you do business license and stuff, so you know the people in the county that are supposed to be paying the sales tax in.
So
Monitor.
when do y'all want to try to schedule meeting with the cities? we have to give them at least 10 days notice.
We do all of them together?
Historically, yes, that's sort of, I don't think it specifically says that in law, but I think that's the intent.
So we shoot for June or July or what? You so long as we give them 10 days.
We have to give them 10 days notice, so
Do the smaller cities meet every month?
I'm just looking at the calendar, say that last week in June. Okay, Vienna City Council meets, if my information is correct, they'll meet on that Monday. So Unadilla's gonna meet on that Tuesday. I don't wanna do it on a Wednesday.
Getting close to the holiday.
Yeah, what about June the 29th, that Thursday? Doesn't appear to be a council meeting that night.
That's a good date.
The next week would have the holiday in it and the first of the month, and I won't think that wouldn't be a good.
What time you
I'll
think?
be in vacation.
Sir?
You gone?
Yeah.
You want me here June 29th? That's what I was,
All right, well, it's back up a week. The 19th is a holiday. The 20th,
Second.
dueling meets on supposedly. The 21st, the 22nd. Doesn't appear to be any council meetings on the June the 22nd.
That's still fine with me.
Does that work for everybody?
What time?
June 22nd, what time you want to do? 5:30, 6 o'clock?
no.
That's what time they have here.
Sir?
I said, that's about what time they be having here, though.
Yes, sir.
5:30?
What time you saying?
5:30 to 6, which of y'all think would be best? Can we, 5:30?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
What was that date again?
June 22nd.
Looking at these overall numbers for sales tax, Mr. Casey, what would you say the number one driving factor in these numbers is? Is it the truck stops on the county?
Well, fuel prices definitely make a difference. That's the biggie. I think that swings it more than anything. And of course, that takes in diesel fuel and the trucking. And but you know, when fuel changes 40 and 50 and 60 cents a gallon, I mean, it's going to have an impact.
So having another truck stop as a priority for another discussion, for another part of our development, having another truck stop in here would drive these numbers up significantly, wouldn't it?
I would think it would, because it appears what's happening when you travel down the state. I think we're gonna see today that there's one at every major exit almost. That's the way it's, I mean, there's no rhyme and reason. I mean, there'll be one here and they'll back up another exit up in Houston County and build them up.
I think that's a big thing to keep on the big picture, because we have land.
Yeah.
And we have land cheaper than those places. And that should be a priority on the big picture.
Right.
Because it has such a big impact on even our smaller communities, two of which are dependent solely upon these pennies to operate.
Well, you got a brand new exit right out here. It's slap empty
On a state highway.
on a heavily traveled state highway. Then you got the Unadilla one where the Unadilla truck stop is. It just needs to be
Prayed for.
redone.
Prayed for.
Prayer doesn't work for that.
All right, so we'll get that meeting set up. Just are still working on the lease with USDA for their office space out at the Business Development Center. Hope to have something to report on that at the next meeting. Item number 8 on the Chris Dooley Joint Development Authority, the terms of Robert Jeter and Mac Jordan are expiring June the 30th. They are both willing to serve again. They serve another term. Need a motion to appoint them if that's the board
You do it
chooses.
one motion.
Yes, sir.
I would offer the motion. They've been very active.
Second.
And the motion and second. Now, okay. Did we appointed those in the beginning, didn't we?
This board, hold on a second. I meant to have this up available. Yes, now this is a joint board between Crisp and Dooley County.
Mm.
Go to our website, county directory, go down here to board appointments, Chris Dooley Joint Development Authority. Each county appoints 5 members. These are our 5 members. And then Chris County chooses who 5 they serve on there. But the county commissioners appoint all these members. It's just that where it just worked out where Mr. Jeter and Mr. Jordan's terms are expiring this year.
All in favor by the show of hand? That motion carries.
Okay, go back here. Item number 9 on the DFAX board, Lisa Bryant's terms expiring. We're trying to make contact with her. She hasn't responded yet, so we don't know if she wants to or not.
Stay on Pine Street. She was a retired school teacher.
Okay.
Earned a rank. Why?
You know how that?
I see her.
Linda said she'll try to reach out. Item number 10 on the library board, Catherine Jones and Laura Lowry. Terms expired. We haven't heard back from them yet. We'll try to reach out to them. On the Middle Flint Behavioral Health Care Community Service Board, Ms. Betty Lamb, terms expiring. She has indicated she is willing to serve another term.
Make a motion.
I see.
It had the motion and second. All in favor by the show of hand? That carries also.
On the River Valley Regional Commission Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council, Dino Lemon's terms expiring. She's indicated she's willing to serve.
I make a motion.
The motion and second. All in favor by the show of hand? That motion carries.
Surplus equipment. We got several HVAC units, air conditioner units that have been taken out of several buildings. Some of them are not all that old that have been put back in the warehouse here that we're not got any use for. I'm suggesting let's just declare them surplus and put them on Gov Deals. I'll get more information. I had hoped to have the more detailed information. I'll have more detailed information at the next meeting. I just want to make sure y'all are okay with doing that. They're just collecting dust back there and they're not going to.
Where were they taken out of?
The largest one's a 10-ton unit that ABM put at the courthouse that was oversized and was creating
I didn't say
humidity issues.
That's a big one.
So they had to replace it, and they didn't want the new unit. So
They want the
10 ton.
Yeah, that's a.
And I think basically they put the same size unit that was there, but it was so much more efficient. It created humidity issues inside the building. So
You need almost an 8 or 10,000 square foot building. Yeah. That's like all the humidity will come in there.
So, all right, item number 14, we got a complaint about the condition on Steve Jackson Road, which I've shared with y'all, and it, along with several other roads, are difficult to travel in right after heavy rain. But I talked to Rodney, and I think we're gonna try when he can find time to put some sand on some of these bad spots to help. Yeah. That's all in the past, all we've ever done now. I think at some point we need to have a discussion about maybe putting gravel in some of these spots. But then you open up a potential can of worms, you start that. So anyway.
How many bad spots in the
I've
county?
asked Rodney to sort of make a list that he's aware of. And we'll see. We can go from there.
The gravel investment might be worth the headache.
Yeah.
Some of these roads need some need.
And it's not the entire road from one end to the other. Most of them, you know where the bad spots are. So anyway, Ronnie's supposed to be working on a list of that for us to look at. All right. Item number 15, we took care of that with Kenny. Item number 16, just for informational purposes, the 5th annual statewide Bible reading is planned at all the courthouses across the state on July the 14th, beginning at 7:14 a.m. in the morning. And you may ask, why July the 14th and why at 7:14 a.m.? Well, it's based on in the Bible in 2 Chronicles, verse chapter 7:14. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. So that's the driving force of it being on July the 14th at 7:14.
So what chapter did they read? Did they just read?
Whoever's organized this assigns all 150. They broke the Bible down into 159 sections, and they've assigned each county a section.
So how long will that take?
I don't know.
Probably before 8 o'clock, and before people get ready to go to work at 8.
I can't remember. You've been to them? I've attended it before, but
It was already 100. What did I tell you, Steve? 123 counties had already signed.
Yeah.
And that's when we said we got to get doing.
July 14th.
We need it bad.
About
We sure
5
do.
or 10 years ago, they had a reading of Chris County. I remember and they just read continuously for like a week or something. Because I went
Was it a
there, they're like, "Do you want to stand in here to read?" I said, "For how long?" They said, "Until the next person comes along." I said, "I'll be glad to read a little bit, but I can't guarantee you."
I think at that time they were reading the whole entire Bible.
I know.
That in one county, but that's not the way it's done now.
I participated in the one at Chris County, but I thought it was 24 hours.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, I think it was too, Lynn.
Yeah,
He
24 hours.
I was.
It was a long time though.
But did you
I
find
took
it? Did you
membership.
find the faith?
Huh?
Did you find the faith?
Find who face? God's.
Moving right along. Moving right along.
We got jokes.
Okay, item number 18, the county commissioners began serving as the fiscal agent for the Dooley County Family Connection Program back in 2018. We have to execute an agreement each year to serve as fiscal agent, so we'll need to execute another agreement to serve. Basically,
11 years.
I was having a bad day that day. Basically, by signing the agreement, we're agreeing to be the fiscal agent. It basically means the state provides the funding. The local Dooley County Family Connection person prepares all the paperwork. I review it, sign it, submit it to the state. The state turns around and reimburses us quarterly. And then also, by also being a fiscal agent, we're agreeing to provide family connection activities in our county, which the local person takes care of. And they say their goal is to improve family economic capacity, including job training and employment, housing and community economic development, and to improve school performance, including entry into school with requisite skills, reduce need for remediation services, and increase attendance and grade progression. The budget for the Dooley County Family Connections, a total of 52,500. They break it down into regular operating expenses of 1,000. The per diem, the fees and contracts, 49,400, and then telephone, telecommunications, $2,100.
How often we write the check? Once a month?
We pay the person every 2 weeks.
Okay. So basically, at $52,000 for a year, $1,000 a week, we're fronting and getting reimbursed, and we're doing the bookkeeping. It doesn't, we get all these other benefits for that service.
It's not a burden on us to do the service. And the state promptly reimburses us every quarter. So the most we're out is 3 months worth at
$12,000.
They do some good stuff.
So,
You need a motion?
yes, sir.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I said,
We have the motion and second. Do we have any other discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hand, that motion carries also.
For number 18, Linda,
Yes,
Lester made the motion, Robson seconded it.
okay, thank you.
Next, item number 19, the Cordell Judicial Circuit Public Defender Office has submitted their funding request. Just keep in mind, the state's fiscal year starts in July, so that's why we're starting to see all these funding requests. Dooley County's fiscal year starts in October, so. But the Public Defender's Office submitted their funding request for 23-24. There's no change in their request from the current funding. They're requesting $30,306.34 from Dooley County.
How's that calculated?
It's two different things. They have an operating budget, and I can provide y'all, send y'all a copy of this, the breakdown if you'd like before you take action. Let's get to here. They have what they call an operating budget and a personnel budget. And it's broken down by different percentages, and I can't remember which is which. I think one is based on caseload and one is based on county population. But the gist of it is, for Dooley County, $30,000 a year.
That ain't a fight you pick, you ain't gonna win.
No, I just.
They gonna get this.
I'll make a motion. Approve the funding request for the Public Defender's Office.
I said,
It has been motion and second. Do we have any other discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hand. Okay.
Okay, next.
Let me put that in perspective for you. Before we were the first circuit to have a statewide public defender's office going back 23 years ago or so. And prior to that, it was funded by local lawyers who got paid $75 an hour. And we were fronting that. And if you do $75 an hour into 30,000, it's 400 hours. That's not a lot of murder cases and other things could be eaten up pretty quick. So we're actually getting a pretty daggone good bargain on that because the state, when they came in and did that service, ended up picking up the freight off of some fees from other things like traffic fines and other that. So we get a lot more bang for our buck than we do with anything else.
Who gets paid $75 an hour around
Your public defender did.
Moving right along. Number 20, just for information, just to remind y'all, the house in Unadilla that we purchased that we thought we were going to make the EMS ambulance service that we're not. We're accepting sealed bids until 3 p.m. on Wednesday, June the 14th, which is the day before our next county commissioners meeting, so I'll have the bids to present to y'all at that time. So, and we got an open house will be held Saturday, June the 10th, from 1 to 3 p.m. there at the site. So I haven't had as many calls as what I expected once we put signs out, but had some. So we'll see what happens. And then,
Too much work.
Yeah.
all right, Mr. David, you said something about a campground.
Yeah, how is the county tied to, the campground for finances, in
What
operating?
campground we talking about?
Right out here, yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's the Methodist church.
That's who it belonged to. I sort of got confronted with that. And I didn't know whether I was right or not, but I told him I never heard of a budget for the campground, so I don't know how we tied to it. But I will find out.
We had a lady call us, called Benita Turton, who handles phone calls, and she got her to me last year, and she wanted to come use the pool because it's Dooley County. Huh?
Swimming pool, I figured that's what I.
Yeah, she wanted to use the swimming pool because it's Dooley County campground, and she says, well, I said, man, we rent it. She goes, but I'm a county taxpayer. I said, well, that's great, but it's not. She goes, well, when did it become the county's? I said, I said, it's never been the county. I said, it's been since 1874. It's been private, owned by the church. Then we had another group that came out recently that wants to rent it. And we said, all right, here's how you rent it. And they said, well, but it's a county tax. Why should we have to pay? It's county. We'll do our family reunion out there. And so I turned them over to the people to talk to, and they gave them a quote, and they weren't happy with the quote. And that's where I think this is coming from.
Yeah, because
Plus you got, if you rent that place and you use that pool, you got to provide a lifeguard.
Our insurance requires it.
Right.
And so people think that it's, and we welcome anybody that wants to buy, that wants to go by what our rules are, but that's a separate issue.
I think Dooley Campground, folks just assume it's Dooley County.
Yeah, and I got hit with it. Now, what Methodist church on it now?
The whole big United Methodist Church does. So like the United Methodist Church owns it, and not any particular church. It has its own board that reports to the big church.
Okay, because I need to have as much facts as possible when I try to explain this back. Yeah, it caught, like I said, it caught me. It just caught me.
They can rent it, it just ain't gonna be free.
Really told me 5,000. It said 5,000 rent it.
Yeah, they can rent it, they just gotta pay.
Did they tell you how long they wanted to rent it?
No, they didn't hit me with that fee. $5,000
Yeah,
rent.
they wanted to rent it for an entire weekend for their family reunion. That's what we're talking about. And that is the going rate that other people pay for 4 or 5 days. We've got 2 people that are renting it for that now. So.
Yeah. I told them I got a backhoe, I'll dig you a hole, man. You want a swimming pool, I'll dig you a hole. Get in, ain't no problem. No, I give it this time.
All right, so another thing I got, Mr. Chairman, is a executive session for a personnel matter.
But before we go in, make the motion to go into executive section. Now, what's the road there in Libby? This still don't have a starting update?
Now, I talked to Ronnie yesterday, and he asked the engineers when could we expect them, and we don't know.
Because it got some more new potholes. So I mean, do we need the system again in the pothole thing there?
When we get our pothole patcher back going, we can.
Oh, so it tore up.
Well, I think they had the engine caught on fire and did some considerable damage to it, so they're trying to get it back going.
It got tired. Somebody got tired of popping.
Where are we?
Yeah, I know.
Did you look into a new one or?
Was it we had
another one?
We had a backup, so that they're trying to get the back. 5 years ago, they came across this deal on another used one, so
The Hawkerville or somewhere.
so we bought a backup one, and so they before we bought it, we tried it, tested it, it worked. Well, they just kept using it and took the one that we had going, just put it in storage as the backup. Now they're going to get it naturally. It hadn't been used, but something sits there several years. You got little quirks you got to get worked out to try to get everything. The wires, it shouldn't be all that big. They may have it go back up and going today, but that's been an issue. So.
He mentioned something about one that would reduce the labor, possibly one that was run by 2 men instead of 3 men.
Oh, you can get one that's just mounted on the truck itself, and just one person can operate it. You operate it with a little joystick yourself, but they're expensive.
I didn't know the price.
All right, need a request on executive session.
I make a motion, we go into executive session for a personnel matter.
There's been a motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that is unanimous.
The recording, the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of executive session as read in executive session.
That's it.
There's the motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands?
And they didn't need to vote on the increase.
Do we, so we need to bring our insurance? That's what we're saying now? Commissioners?
I think we're gonna do a copy of the date pay, we set an example. You know, we're getting paid for miles.
I'll
It's a flat rate, we ain't turning in miles. But the people that turn in miles, what do? They call and say, I had 4,280 miles, or do they give you something?
They give us something.
Right. But y'all want to get out of that and then go ahead.
Okay.
So that's agreement with that Eugene, them talking, Tony, y'all in agreement with that? Turning it
You
down?
just bringing in, our insurance policy? See how much cause I don't know.
Yeah, I'm talking about, you know, make sure everybody know the same.
I know I got full coverage.
I
that's all I
did
know.
renew mine, so
It don't cost that much more.
I got mine and then I got his umbrella.
I might not have no.
You don't want them running out of, you don't want your policy running out of.
So how would you?
Let's
impose that
adjourn.
upon them?
He wants to adjourn.
Oh,
How do you
Yeah,
impose
well,
them having this?
Make the motion, then we can talk then.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we
We
adjourn.
need to vote.
Second.
And make that a requirement for a person that gets mileage, that's paid mileage, that we're gonna have that as the underlying limit before our insurance company is called upon to pay anything above that.
How about giving us time to process this and come back with a recommendation?
Okay, all in favor?
Cause they
Okay,
don't.
now,
and
okay,
then
I care.
That was
Now-
Lester and Mixon, right?
Well, since if I get paid mileage for in county, you're saying you can stop the.
Y'all ain't adjourned yet.
We did. We
Oh, we
voted.
did.
We voted to
We
adjourn.
did
We had to vote to adjourn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.